Howdy and welcome to the first episode of In the Woods Necessities. It's going to be a series where I'm going to show you different kit that I use while I'm in a woods. Today we're going to be tackling the subject of first aid kits, more specifically boo-boo kits. We're going to be talking about the small one, the medium one, the large one, what's inside of them, how they differ from each other, and in what scenarios I use these different kits. These are all for minor scrapes, bumps, and cuts. They have components in all of them for how to fix that on top of some other stuff that we'll talk about. When you're using these kits, it's not because you need to take care of major bleeding. That's what an IFAK would be for. We're not using an IFAK today. We're using these. These will be in a different episode. One other very important piece of information before we go into this is that the components that are inside of these kits are only as good as your training on how to use them. Don't put things in here that you don't know how to use, and if there's stuff that you want to know how to use, do some research, do a little bit of practice, and then apply it to your kits as needed. Remember that these are just my opinions. I am not a medical professional. I'm not really in the business of endorsing products on this channel, so don't worry about that. Whatever you think is useful here, you can try it for yourself and see if it works for you or not. We're going to start off by talking about the outside of them and why I chose these three in particular. One of the things you'll notice is that none of these are military looking, and the reason why is because the molly tends to get caught on things inside of a backpack. These typically live inside of a pocket of some sort or inside of a backpack, and because of that I don't want them getting caught on anything in the event that I need them. And next you'll notice that they all say boo-boo kit on them instead of a first aid kit, and that is because a lot of the people that I go into the woods with either have professional training on a IFAK or they don't have any training on a IFAK, a boo-boo kit, or anything else for that matter. So I differentiate between first aid kits and boo-boo kits so that in the event that I need one, when I say I need a first aid kit and I need this, somebody doesn't come over and hand me this. This is a completely different thing for a different scenario, and you can very easily end up with the following.
Pretty sure this is... Sorry, mine's mostly meant for gunshots.
Okay, you want to shoot that one and then you fix it?
We don't want that. That's why we're going to discern real quick between what the two types are. Next, you'll see that all of these have glow tape on them. I'll show you how that works later, but the glow tape is there so that in the dark, even without a headlamp, you can easily identify what these kits are, what they're for, and how to open them. You'll see on the two larger kits here, we have glow tape on the tabs right there and right there, and on the smallest one, we have this tab here, and then again on the front where the latch is. All right, for this part of the demonstration, we're out to our favorite table, which is in the dark right now at night. If you turn your screen all the way to the brightest setting and sit in a dark room, you might be able to make out what I'm looking at right here. We'll show you the drastic difference when you hold it up to night vision. Under nods, you can clearly see the pull tabs on all of them, how to open them. You can see what they are. They stand out compared to everything else that's around them. If you need to do things under nods for whatever reason in your mind you need to make up to make that happen, this is exactly why I use glow tape. And this is what they look like after being exposed to a flashlight for a couple of seconds. The idea being that even if you miss them, somebody else that's nearby, if they don't have a flashlight, might see one of these and get it to you pronto. Just something to consider. Cool. So, starting off, we're going to go ahead and knock these off to the side. This is my boo-boo kit that I use the majority of the time. It's the most basic. It is the bare minimum that you would need, and it's for single day trips if you're going to go in for a couple of hours and come back out. Unfortunately, just due to circumstances, this is often the one that I have with me the most, and you'll see why quickly. We have this pull tab here. It comes off, and that pops the kit open. The reason why that's on there, if you can see, doesn't do a particularly good job of closing all the way, and this is just a safety to keep it from opening when it's not supposed to. But you get inside, and let's take a look at what we got. First off, we got our Band-Aids. They come in a variety of different sizes, but they're not very big. Couple little pieces of moleskin in case your feet get wet, and you start getting blisters, just enough that you can cover up a couple of them if you need to. One little dab of ibuprofen. This is just in case you slip and bang your knee on something, this will get the swelling down until you make it back to your car. 2 Pepto-Bismol tablets. You're going to see a lot of these. There have been more than once that I've gone out, had stomach pains that I wasn't anticipating happening, and this will help out a little bit until you can get back to a vehicle. Next we have not 1, but 2 little packets of antibiotic ointment in case you get a cut, medical tape in case you need to put on a larger bandage than what we have here, alcohol prep pads, and 1 sting and bite pad. This is only in here because I live in an area with a lot of poison oak and poison ivy, and this is a good way to mitigate the damage that it's going to do to you before you can make it back to a vehicle. Alcohol pads are good so that you can clean a wound before you actually put your antibiotic ointment on there, and you can use it to clean your hands. We have gauze bandages. This is for anything bigger than what our Band-Aids can cover. There's only 3 in there. We have super glue with the cap removed off of the nozzle. That way it can actually fit in there. I like to leave it just like that on the first thread so that it's together in one piece, and then you just crank it down when you want to use it. This is for cuts. This is something that has been neglected in all of my kits up until recently, and now it's in all of them. And last but certainly not least, we have a very small pocket knife. It has one function only. That's to get into these if they need to be getting into. That is, if this is clogged up and you need to cut the top off of it. I don't want to go for my other knives if I don't have to. I try to make sure that I have everything that I need to operate the kit inside of the kit. This is not optimal. I'd rather have a pair of scissors, but it's what I have on store and it fits in here perfectly. And here is everything laid out all together. As you can see, it's not very much stuff. And the greatest strength of this kit is also the greatest weakness of this kit in that it's just so convenient. In being convenient, you can take it anywhere. However, it also doesn't carry enough stuff that I would trust it for more than a couple of hour outing. It has the problem where trying to fit everything of this size inside of that kit that small is a big issue. And in order to help me out with that, I made these little bands that fit around different components. You'll see these in all the kits. But it's just a little pro tip when you're building kits to try to keep everything organized. Now, the good side of this being so convenient is that I do actually take it with me pretty often, even in places where I wouldn't want this and I'd want one of the larger kits that ends up coming with me. It's the same kind of philosophy that you have with concealed carry as an example. I really wish that I could take my Beretta 92 with me everywhere that I go. It's just not feasible as a concealed carry option, and because of that, most of the time it stays at home. Instead, I end up taking this guy with me pretty much everywhere because it fits in a pocket, it's convenient, and I'd rather have this one with me in my pocket ready to go, even if it's suboptimal, then think about how much I wanted this one and left it at home because it's so bulky. Same kind of idea, that's what I'm going with. And this is where this kit shines the best. It's when you're wearing normal clothes, doing normal things, and trying to blend into a group. This is superb for that. Unlike the larger kits, you can fit it in a shirt pocket if you need to, if you're doing something real quick, or you can take it and put it in your swim trunks if for some reason you're doing something with swim trunks. But also if you're the kind of person that likes to be an absolute cringe lord and wear something like this, some LARP gear where it's got your patches and everything on it. These are superb because you can take it and put it in your arm pockets, and it's very easy to get in and very easy to get out as needed. I'll tell you what, there was a day not that long ago where I had this exact kit on when I was doing my own little LARPy thing. I'm not above it. And took a shot to the face. That's how I like to wear this. Moving on. Here we have kit number 2. This is the mid-size. This is the one that I want to have with me most of the time. It does have some half-baked molly on the back of it. As you can tell, it doesn't really work as molly, but I guess in a pinch you could put it on something. I've never done it. Opening it up, you can see that this is way more fleshed out than our micro kit. And we're going to take this apart one piece at a time and show you what's in here. More alcohol, more sting pads. I think there's 4 in here instead of 1. Up at the top, we have way more medical tape. We have a compression bandage, 1 pair of gloves in case I have to work on somebody else. It's not me. A lot more moleskin, a lot of bandages of different sizes. I'm not going to open this up. Iodine tablets and neutralizer. Instead of having 2 ketchup packets of antibiotics, we have a mostly new tube of antibiotic for larger cuts and scrapes, and many of them. Large bandages, because if I don't have to cut up gauze and make my own, I'm not going to. Scissors for getting into everything in here. A lot of gauze, and it's compressed down to make sure that it fits in here a lot better. Ibuprofen tablets, caffeine packets, a lot of Pepto-Bismol. These right here are Benadryl for allergies and if you need help getting to sleep at night. Instead of having 1 tube of super glue, this time we have 1, 2, and 3 tubes. Use whatever brand you want, and a pair of tweezers. And here are all of the components laid out. As you can tell, there is a huge increase in performance and quality from this kit and my smaller micro kit. Now, this kit is going to be for a multi-day camp out for 1 person or an overnight camp out for more than 1 person. It has enough that I can take care of multiple people at least 1 time or myself over a number of days. I try to keep this on me at all times, but because of the bulk of this, it's really easy to take it off and set it somewhere else. One thing that you'll definitely notice that's a big difference between this kit and the last kit is my built-in water purification system. This is a backup in case I run out of drinking water and can't find more. Luckily for me, where I live, it's not really hard to get drinking water, but it all needs to be purified thoroughly before consumption. So I'm going to keep these on me just in case everything else that I have breaks down. And here we have the medium-sized kit. Now, like I said, it has some half-baked molly on the back of it, so if you need to, you can strap it onto the outside of a backpack. I've never needed that, but I'm not everybody, and your mileage may vary. Most of the time, it's not going to be strapped to the outside of a backpack. It's going to be inside of a pocket. But the way that these shine is really inside of a cargo pocket. This is how I like to carry it. Come on over, open it on up, shove it right on in there. And you can leave it with the pull tab exposed so that if you need to get into it, you just reach down and grab it and pull it out. You can put it inside of a coat pocket like this guy here and zip it up. It's going to print really badly, but at least it's convenient, at least with wintertime clothes, to carry it around in my experience. Not as small and maneuverable as our micro kit, but it does a pretty good job and it carries way more things. So the trade-off, I think, is well worth it in most cases if you can fit the big guy where you need it. And last but certainly not least is the big boy. Now this kit, before I open it, does not typically go with me on campouts. As a matter of fact, I've only taken this out with me in the field one time, and that was on my last outing.
I got a first aid kit, I got 2 of them. He's taking a look at it now.
Oh my god. But most of the time, this is going to stay in a vehicle that's nearby. That way, if something goes wrong and my other 2 kits don't have enough in them to take care of the problem, then I have access to this. And it has additional components in it that the other 2 do not. Now, the reason why this came with me on the last camp out in particular is because I wanted to make sure that there was enough medical supplies for myself plus 4 other people. I did not anticipate anybody else bringing their medical equipment, and I'm happy that I brought this because there wasn't enough to go around. Unfortunately, this was not as stocked up as it should have been for that camp out, and we had some problems with people getting sore throats and things that have been rectified in this. When my good buddy Blue cut his foot open on that trip, this was the kit that we used to fix it. It had all the components in it that were required, but now there's some additional stuff that would have made it a little bit easier. So, opening it up, again with our glow-in-the-dark pull tabs, this is the kitchen sink. It has everything that a person could need. Here in the bottom compartment, more compression tape, lip balm, tick puller, a brand new antibiotic pain relief. An issue that I ran into on the last camp out that I wasn't anticipating was a person seeing Neosporin, the branding popping up across the top, and not being able to tell what this was by looking at it directly. So I've removed the Neosporin from my Everybody kit and replaced it with antibiotics. That way when you look at it, it says antibiotic to hopefully cut down on the amount of time it takes to fix an issue. A lot of gauze of different sizes and shapes and brands. A lot of Band-Aids of different sizes and shapes and brands. A lot of alcohol prep pads of different sizes and shapes and brands. And in the top compartment, we have our scissors to access things that we need to access. Instead of bringing sting pads like the smaller kits, we have anti-itch cream, a larger tube of it for applying to multiple people with multiple stings and bites on them. We have not 1, but 2 bottles of water purification tablets. If you notice, I don't have neutralizer to make the water taste good after you put these in, because if there's that much water that needs to be purified for that many people, I'm just going to go, wah, my water tastes bad. I had to use free water. I want good tasting water in my kit, but when I'm providing for a lot of people, I could care less. They should have brought more water. A lot of moleskin, a lot of rubber gloves of different sizes for different people, another set of tweezers for removing debris from wounds and for getting splinters, a lot of medical tape for affixing gauze to people as required, and we've upgraded from 3 tubes of super glue to 4 tubes of super glue. And finally, the last component here, this is Mucinex, more ibuprofen tablets, we have some Pepto-Bismol in there, there's things for sore throats, we got things for allergies in the morning, things for allergies at night, pretty much anything that you would need if you were stuck overnight and very uncomfortable. Like I said, if the components of the other ones aren't good enough and you're close enough to your vehicle to get back to this, then it has some things in there to make your life a little bit easier. Here are all of the components of the largest kit laid out. By far the most capability out of all 3 of them. And again, because it has so much capability, it's almost impossible to take it anywhere, especially when your backpack is as crowded as mine normally is. And for the final boo-boo kit, we have our large kit. Now, obviously you're going to keep it in a backpack most of the time if you can, or you can keep it in something like this LBE here where you have this large pouch in the back that you can fit it into. No, I'm not going to sit here and struggle with it. I'm not going to bother trying to put this into clothing because there's really no way that you can put this on you in a traditional sense like the other 2 kits and carry it around. It just doesn't quite work like that. But again, we don't really take this with us. We leave it in a vehicle like I'll show you here, and you use it to replenish your other kits or to get back to if you need amplifying medical equipment that you don't have on you on site. Now let's get ready to close out this video. Hopefully some of the information you found in here was enlightening and helpful. If it wasn't enlightening and helpful, maybe it was at least a little bit interesting. If it wasn't useful or interesting, let me know how to make it more useful and interesting for you. After all, the whole point of this series here is that I share information with you, you share information with me, and we all get better at all of this together. So, if you see anything here that you think you can improve on, let me know what I can do, and if it makes sense, I'll implement it. If not, then if you have any ideas for what you'd like to see in the new upcoming year when it comes to this kind of subject, let me know. And if I have any insight on it, I'll let you know. And if I don't have insight on it, I'll tell you what I'm lacking on it. Maybe you help me fix it. Thank you all for stopping by. See you around.
We do the dance again. Do the roar.